Welcome to the first session of the Digital Skills Talk. This is the first episode of a new series of online events organized by the Digital Skills and Jobs platform of the European Commission. I'm very happy to be here this morning with our first speaker for the interview. Here is Andrew Tuson, lecturer at Warsaw School of Computer Science. Welcome to the first episode. I'm very happy to be here with you this morning.
Good morning from Warsaw.
Good morning. So just a little bit of introduction about the new series that we just launched. This will be a 30 minutes interview for the first time in the Digital Skills and Jobs platform. And we would like to have a 30 minutes conversation with an expert in the digital world. So today we will start the first episode talking about AI, artificial intelligence skills in Europe, and understand a little bit about the future of our jobs. So this series aims to accompany you for breakfast, lunch, or afternoon tea, so that you can join us for a conversation with our speakers, know more about the digital skills topics, and dive into the digital world. So I hope you will join our first episode, and the more that will come in the upcoming months. I will let you know at the end of this interview who will be our next speakers. So stay tuned and follow us. And I will leave the floor to Andrew to present himself. I just wanted to say that he's currently working at Warsaw School of Computer Science, and he is actively engaged in European AI skills development through his involvement in ARISA, a European project. ARISA stands for European Artificial Intelligence Skills Alliance. So I leave the floor to you, Andrew, so you can present your work and tell us more about yourself. Thank you.
Okay. I joined the ARISA project last summer. I've actually been pursuing a portfolio career for the last 10 years, but previous to that, I was an academic in the UK university system, and I actually did a lot of research in artificial intelligence at that time. So when the Warsaw School of Computer Science asked me to join the project, I was very enthusiastic to join.
That's great. Thank you. So maybe we start with our first question of this episode of the Digital Skills Talks. For those who just joined, we're going to talk about AI skills. And maybe I will start by asking you about the AI Act, which is the world's first comprehensive AI law. And the European Union set a clear ambition to regulate AI with a human-centric approach. So, Andrew, what do you think about the challenges of this process? And what will be the role of AI skills in this?
Okay. I think the first thing to probably to note is that the Act itself, the principles are, I think in my opinion, the opinion of many commentators, actually really very sound indeed. And this is actually an example of the European Union doing the kind of work that it often excels at. Obviously, there are discussions and debates, from various interest groups, and some consensus has to be reached. But all this is quite normal. I don't think the issue is going to be with the Act itself as it comes out in its final form. The issue is going to be about the detail of implementation, and I think this is where the challenge is going to be. So, for example, if you're a business leader, how does this constrain your strategy, especially if even if you're not using AI technology as a part of as the thing your business sells, you may be using AI technology, because that's going to put certain compliance obligations on you. So, for example, if you have a chatbot, for example, you may say, I'm going to use a chatbot to help, or I'll allow my employees to use generative AI to speed up letter writing, etc. Then you've got to worry about things such as GDPR, as well as the AI Act itself. And then, of course, there's obviously going to be work on AI skills, also up training people and understanding their technological obligations on the IT teams themselves.
Of course. Thank you, Andrew. Indeed, we should really consider the training's opportunity to better develop our skills and understand how to use these AI tools. So you can also have a look to our training section in the Digital Skills and Jobs platform for those who are following us. And you can find many trainings opportunity and how to improve your skills, your digital skills. And we actually have new trainings on AI. So just leave it here for who's following us.
It's also probably worth adding on to that comment that how businesses are going to need to respond to the AI Act is going to probably take a year or so after it's been implemented to begin to settle down. So there's going to need to be obviously more trainings. It's going to be quite a dynamic situation. And but so it's actually good that we're making a start now.
I agree. Thank you, Andrew. So maybe like now we can move a little bit more in deep in the ARISA project. As I mentioned before, you are involved in this project. ARISA is the European Artificial Intelligence Skills Alliance project, and I know that you have been working this project. And ARISA has carried out AI skills needs analysis as a starting point for an AI skills strategy for Europe. So my question will be here, what are the main findings of this report and what can we expect for the future world of work? And maybe later I will ask you more about the strategy and the skill gap. But now I leave you.
But just on the needs analysis itself, yes. You know, a lot of work was done in the background leading up to this report. There was, for example, a data analysis looking at search trends in job ads and what people identified their skill needs to be, etc. As you probably expect, most things came out because this is a new area. Most people are still trying to find their way in it. But two main themes arose as broad themes, as requiring more urgent attention. Okay, the first was providing courses for business leaders and policymakers. So these are fairly short courses to get them up to speed and then to help them ask the right kinds of questions. They don't need to be technical experts. They don't need to understand the inner workings of neural networks, but they do need to understand, for example, what questions to ask. To give a concrete example, we'll be running one of these courses for policymakers in the coming month or so, and as a pilot. And I'll be teaching the kind of cybersecurity type and AI part of things. And the reason actually is that actually for most business managers, if they do cybersecurity correctly and the governance correctly, then actually AI just becomes more of the same kind of problem. But right now, business leaders do not necessarily understand this. They think this is an entirely new threat. And actually, so actually providing steers on, say, strategy and how do you need to think about this and where might the AI change? And that was the first area. The second area was around skills specifically for technologists in generative AI. So so you have, for example, programming and training and training large language models.
Okay, I see. So let's see that this is like a starting point for there is a project, and then also we will see more coming in the future. And,
and I think we can explore that more when we talk about the strategy. But you also asked about the future world of work.
Yes, and I want to go here and see a little bit more like what can we expect for our future jobs when we consider AI skills. Like what should we have here? Like tell us more about this point.
I think the first thing to realize, it's often said, but I believe it's a very true and good point, is this: it's not AI that's the competition. It's other people using AI to help them and be more effective. That's the competition. Okay. Yes. If you look at a lot of the applications of generative AI, you wouldn't just let the AI do it on its own. It's the effective applications right now are AI helping people. So, for example, a lot of programmers are, and I've asked them, commercial programmers are using generative AI to generate a first draft of the code to save time, because typing it all in when it's something you more or less know how to do, but it's laborious, is just slow and boring. So you get the AI, generate a first version, check it, fix any mistakes, and use it. So these are the areas where the AI is not doing the programming for you, but it helps. And they are Copilot applications, which are special versions of generative AI just for programmers. So that is where. Also, another point here is there is an often quoted a survey across the EU saying that 8% of businesses are using AI.
Mm-hmm.
A more recent survey asking a similar question in Poland, it was 4%. Okay. However, I would possibly look at these cautions, because I think a lot of use of AI in businesses is not known by the management. In cybersecurity, we call it shadow IT. In other words, these employees are using software that the business does not know about. And that's going to pose its own set of challenges as well, as we need to bring these things into organizations, into the view of management, if only for compliance reasons, but also to get the full efficiency gains.
I see. Also, we should try to help business organization not to consider AI as a threat, but maybe to better understand the role of AI exactly as an opportunity, and how it can support employees, and actually how you can better do your work and support your work. So it's not going to replace people and what we actually do in our daily life, but sure.
Okay. Are you being paid to write letters, or are you being paid to help promote the company and promote the company's interests? Because if you can save you time writing letters, which is a necessary part of that, then you've got more time to do higher value work.
Exactly. That was actually my point. Yeah. Okay, thank you for giving us more details on the ARISA project and the strategy that they're developing. Now, back to the strategy, how do we ensure that we close the skill gap in Europe? We talk about business, how people need AI, how they actually use it, but how can we ensure that actually we bridge the skills gap in Europe?
Okay, I'll just want to quickly first mention the ARISA skills strategy. Then what I'd then like to do is then address your question directly at that point. The ARISA project has recently launched a skills strategy. It was led by our partners at HU Utrecht. Okay. And you can download it from the website. Now, when reading that, it's possibly worth then noting a couple of things about how you close the skills gap in the EU. I think the first thing you're going to have to realise that it's going to, and the strategy does realise this, that it's an ongoing process. Okay, it's a moving target, because what we think we need now may not be what we need in 2 years' time, when we have a better idea about how the technology works. At the moment, there are problems with the technology. Okay, so here's an example, a business example. DPD UK, the UK branch of a famous courier company, decided to launch a chatbot. They obviously wrote it quickly. They didn't test it particularly well or put any safeguards in, and it was very straightforward for people to get the chatbot to do things it shouldn't do, like swear. Okay. This hit the internet very quickly, and was not good publicity for the company concerned. At least it didn't leak confidential information, which is another problem that can be had if you don't engineer these things properly. Now, it may well be that in 6 months to a year's time, would have technologically mitigated these problems. Okay, because it's like that. It's at the moment we're in the early age of film, when the black and white movies, when you saw the early black and white movies, people were still understanding how to do things in films, and often films were filmed as if you were in a theatre, not in a film studio. We're still at that stage, so it's going to be a moving target. One concrete example of this is that there was a lot of fuss made over what is called prompt engineering. A lot of ads came. there's evidence now that the initial interest in prompt engineering, so business people grabbed onto what they first heard of because they didn't know what to respond to, has now dialed back a fair amount because people are beginning to better understand what skills are needed. And we're still in that situation now. There may be roles and skill gaps that emerge in the next few years we haven't yet predicted. So monitoring is going to be a thing, and the ability to, and what might be a very strong learning lesson, I think, for in education management is actually ensuring the amount of a certain amount of agility. I think at a certain time where there was like a 1-year process where you did market research, you did you know, a needs analysis, etc., like a waterfall sequence of steps. That may not work here. It may not work for other transitions because there will be other AI transitions coming up in the next 10 years or so, robotics being an obvious example. So this, I think, will possibly be a nice example of us being the year of being able to develop its educational agility.
Yes, and also flexibility to adapt to all these changes in our world, and how to be ready for the new transition.
Yeah, so, because as I said, we don't know, it's not like, say, a small incremental development in an established field.
Exactly. Oh, we will for sure will be in everything, in different fields, in different systems. So it's not like one specific field that will be affected.
Yeah.
Thank you, Andrew, for clarifying this point on the AI skills strategy. And maybe we have few minutes left and then before our interview finishes. And I have one last question for you. So we talked about organization, business, so the professional world. Now I have a question related to the to education, to schools, universities. And so what do you think, what is the role of university and higher education institutions in this changing landscape?
Okay, it's quite interesting coming back to the strategy because it does actually mention that in a number of the areas. It touches upon universities and schools. So, for example, design of AI skills learning offerings, which would be across not just universities but across the area, also trying to actually articulate what skills are needed on an ongoing basis. So there's on the ERISA skill strategy, there is actually a roadmap which spans even further forward than 5 years, and a lot of this is ongoing activity, and also just in trying to accelerate upskilling in general. Now, when it comes to universities specifically, and and again, universities are separate from the school sector, there's a number of levels where it can be affected. The first level, which is not so much to do with AI skills, but it's important, and it's basically what the research intensive universities do, is to build the science base. So this is about making sure you've got people with PhDs, that research is funded into generative AI and related technologies. So you have the base, not only for people to come out with new innovative, highly technological products, but also at like the foundation level, the base level, but also to generate the next generation of lecturers and professors who will be teaching the graduates in the future. Then there's also going to be a theme on in terms of changes to technical education, because AI, because trying to think, we're going to have to make some adjustment to computer science syllabuses and how we teach. I already mentioned that generative AI is going to affect how people program in practice. It is affecting how people program in practice. Okay, so this will have to be reflected on how we teach this very foundational skill in a computer science degree, as well as keeping up and teaching people, or at least making sure they've got the prerequisite knowledge to quickly understand the new technologies as they come. And there's also going to be impact in business as well. Business schools will need to adapt to this. Because how do you analyze these things in terms of strategy? How do you How do you give maybe new consultants in university, people doing MBAs, for example, the ability to recognize opportunities for, say, AI-enabled automation? And I think one thing we have to also recognize is that universities are going to need to adapt themselves at quite a fundamental level.
What do you
the
mean?
age of the take-home essay may be endangered by generative AI. Right now, it doesn't do a very good job. It makes up references, for example, but I can see, for example, assessment changing over time. I can possibly see there being changes to teaching, for example, and how teaching methods happens, as well as also threats to academic integrity and research. Because of the ability to generate text that will go into papers, etc. Is this really the person's own fault, or did you get the AI to write it? So these are issues that are going to play out in the academic world as well. So this is going to change universities.
And maybe like if I jump in here, like the question was of course related to university, but also if we should also consider like high schools or like people before going to college. Like AI seems so complex, and we should help them understand, like make it simpler, and help them to consider a future in this field, like a professional future, like make them curious also to know more about technology, to start this journey in the digital world. So it could be like before going to university.
Yes.
It could be
I mean, some of these changes in assessment will affect schools. People don't suddenly start using generative AI the moment they walk into university. They're using it now. So now sometimes it can be used to educational advantage. For example, you could design an assessment where what you do is you say, get generative AI to generate the essay, and then present a 5-minute presentation about why it's so bad. Which would allow you to effectively understand demonstrate the material, etc. So you can invert this. You can do some really interesting things in schools and universities. And it's probably worth mentioning that later this year, in conjunction with the Warsaw Schools of Computer Sciences Youth IT Academy, I'll be running hopefully some courses for teachers.
Okay, interesting. Perfect. Okay. Thank you so much. I know that we are running a little bit over time, but just to wrap up this episode, we discuss AI tools, AI skills, the future jobs that we will have with artificial intelligence and its development. So I really want to thank you, Andrew, for giving us an overview of ARISA, the strategy that it's developing, and also to dive a little bit in the education world, how it will help the next generation to choose AI and to understand better this field, and maybe more things will arrive soon.
Thank you very much for having me. Could I just point the viewers to the website for ARISA, which is aiskills.eu. So if you want to find out more or download and read the strategy and the needs analysis, if you go to aiskills.eu, then you'll find it all there.
Indeed. Thanks for reminding this, so that people who are following us can learn more about the skills needs analysis and the strategy, and understand better our conversation that we just had. So before we close, I just want to thank our speakers again for joining us, and also to everybody who has followed us this morning for an interactive breakfast. Hope you enjoyed. And I just want to let you know that we already organized the second episode for this interview, for this new series. And the next interview will be in February, so stay tuned. We will reveal the date soon. And our guest speaker will be Kamanshi Rajagopal, who is a researcher and freelancer consultant in education and technology. So we will discuss about data with a focus on AI, on skills. So which we will understand better which skills we will need to have and to participate in this data-driven economy. So follow our channels on social media at Digital Skills EU on Facebook and on Twitter, and we will give more information soon. So don't forget to register and to follow the next episode and the series. We will have 5 more episodes, so stay tuned. And again, if you want to learn more about artificial intelligence and skills, you can read the AI skills strategy developed by RISA, but also go to our website on the Digital Skills and Jobs platform and learn more about the training opportunities that we offer, that we promote in our platform, and all the news and the upcoming events on AI and digital skills. So thank you all for participating. Thank you, Andrew. Hope we see each other soon for a new conversation. Maybe we dive into artificial intelligence together again. And have a nice day, everybody.
Have a nice day.
And see you very soon, Andrew. Thank you so much.
Bye.
Bye-bye.